Good evening, family and friends. Time for a nightcap recap with Dr. Leslie. Yes, this is my first whiskey. I might be tipsy. That I might be tipsy later. I'm not yet. I actually just stopped working and I just got the kids to bed. But I wanted to update you on the shit show of the world. I think today's mental health day, but I don't even fucking know. Anyway, celebrity news. How did I not know last night that Bryan Freedman, the lawyer to many celebrities, he's been involved with cases like Julia Roberts. I mean, the biggest celebrities, Ruby Rose. A lot of people act they hate him. They despise him. They want his license taken away. He's being sued. Now, I don't know if you follow me on any of my socials, but I did post a video about how Justin Baldoni became friendly, groomed a kid who was dying, a young man. And that young man somehow wrote a movie script. And it was about how he had to stay away from people because he had a terminal illness. So somehow that movie script got into the hands of Justin Baldoni. Now, the family was very upset about this because it was turned into a movie, a very similar movie that Justin Baldoni did not give this person credit for. So they hired Bryan Freedman. Bryan Freedman represented them for a little bit, right? During the remainder of this young man's life. They were in civil litigation. And then Bryan Freedman seemed to talk them into a settlement. He took half of it and then he switched sides and he started representing Justin Baldoni. So finally, the family has sued Bryan Freedman, and I'm also aware of multiple ethical complaints against Bryan Freedman. Now, sure, he's an entertainment attorney, right? If you ask any real entertainment attorney in Hollywood, in New York, they tend to refer to him as the swamp. They think he's theater. They do not consider him a real attorney. Now, everyone who's considered all the shit they've seen on the docket through the Lively Baldoni case to be anything true, to be anything real, you really need to take a step back and look at, I don't care if it's a legal document, when it's coming from somebody who's potentially not ethical, it means shit. So, everybody who's living for all of this stuff hitting the docket every day, you have no idea how much has been fabricated, how much has been hidden, and how much is just completely untrue. So I am so happy for this family that they are trying to find justice for the loss of their son and the manipulation of the legal system and the theater of Bryan Freedman, who is gonna lose it. He's gonna lose it all. I see it happening. And cool, whatever. There's more stuff on Blake Lively, Baldoni hitting the docket. People are obsessed with this case. I mean, people are calling the courthouses. People are calling, asking to get sealed documents unsealed. I mean, it's really none of our business. I don't know. It's our business when the judge and the lawyers make it our business and they make it public. But if it's not public, can't we just wait? Like, why is there so much emotion behind wanting to see text messages and these people's private shit? It just put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. If you were going through litigation and the world wanted to make fun of you and fucking assholes like Perez Hilton wanted to use you as clickbait, it's put yourself in their shoes. I don't think you actually have done that. Maybe you don't have the capacity to. But moving on, Harvey Weinstein is again trying to get charges or something dismissed. I don't even want to talk about him. He is disgusting. He is still fighting his way. But remember, Candace Owens believes him and backs him. And he didn't sexually harm all of these women. He didn't do all these things for decades, right? And we don't have honorable actresses speaking out for decades. Yeah, right. Good one to back. But we want to believe Candace because now she's talking about Charlie Kirk because she's jumped on that bandwagon and we want to believe her. We always want to believe some kind of nugget of truth, right? And then we forget about her propaganda and her crazy rants and the fact that she is just doing this all to maintain a following and something is not right there. But speaking of Charlie Kirk, so it sounds like Turning Point, I don't know, I don't follow this crap, is now so against Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl that they're going to be having their own Super Bowl party, okay, is just gonna be Kid Rock and like a bunch of white people. So Bad Bunny like wasn't white, so that means he doesn't fit. That means he's not American. When most people who perform at the Super Bowl aren't American, most people aren't white. But we need someone white. So I'm curious, yeah, what is going to be turning point? But we also like we don't want to talk about Charlie Kirk in a negative way because his life was ended in a horrible way, and of course we don't condone violence. But he did perpetuate horrible things. He oh wait no wait he was just a debater, right? He didn't mean it. It was just debate, right? Okay, so it was just debate. He didn't mean it, but we're so against Bad Bunny that we're going to have our own Super Bowl. The hypocrisy is just offensive at this point. Are they that stupid or are they just assuming that the world is that stupid? Or maybe the online election ballots were just all fake. I don't know. You can easily go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy. But what I've learned is that people are pretty simple. They really only just see their reflection in the mirror and a little bit of the world around them. And if you think about it in that context, it's really quite simple. Bad Bunny doesn't speak a lot of English and he's not white. And therefore, he doesn't fit into the paradigm of who MAGA wants to see, who Trump wants to see. And so now they are fighting against it and pulling in a pretty extreme Christian group into that. We'll see how that goes. But Candace Owens is still pushing this propaganda and these conspiracy theories and putting information out. If this information were actually true, if this information were actually relevant, I mean, this bitch would be subpoenaed. This bitch would be in court if she has all this secret information. She's dangling a carrot and you guys are all following. And she's waiting for the next moment to cash in her paycheck from Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube. She's making probably millions of dollars off of all of you. And she's using the death of Charlie Kirk to do it. Yet you guys think she's trying to find justice for Charlie Kirk and truth. It's not really what's happening. Drake's lawsuit was dismissed. That's kind of cool. So basically, like rap songs aren't considered defamation. And maybe we'll make new case law around that. So we've learned that. That's great. The American government is still shut down. Mike Johnson still sucks ass. I wonder if he's being blackmailed because it's getting really extreme. I mean, a woman literally called him on some show he was on today and said that if you don't let us have our paycheck, then my two terminally ill kids, like kids are going to die. And he flipped the script and said that was a democratic issue. It's not an issue for anyone in politics. Just open the government and do your job. Just talk, just communicate. It's actually really simple. And sign in that other woman who we need to sign off on the Epstein files because why not? The government's shut down. Oh, wait a second. But last time the government was shut down, you still swore into Republicans and you said it was because their families were in town. Well, her family was in town too. Hmm. It's the internet works so quickly that you can't lie. You're going to get caught. Trump is saying he's going to conduct mass firings because people aren't working in the government, but the government's shut down and people aren't getting paid to work. Someone I've always really disliked, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is now kind of turning away from the Republican Party, definitely turning away from Trump. I don't think Trump is the Republican Party. Again, like this is an outlier and this is absolutely obscene what is happening to our country right now. It's just not constitutional anymore. It's fucking nuts. And then God, I don't know, the online voting system, Dominion was bought out by a Republican. Who knows? I don't know. We haven't heard many details on that. I mean, the best news maybe is that there's a peace deal in Gaza, but there was a massive attack last night. I'll believe it when I see it. I think that Trump is easily manipulated by other world leaders, and I don't trust that what they say to him is true. I don't trust it. I really, really hope it happens, but I just think that we have so many high profile, powerful, rich men running things, and it's all for their own ego. I mean, if they didn't exist anymore, who would be fighting like this? It's just that they're fighting because they want to be on the top. They want to be in charge. They're not fighting for their countries. They're not fighting for their people. And also, we found out today that if you had your dick cut, if you were circumcised, then that's probably what led to your autism. Yeah, no, I'd like to clarify that you can't take a scientific article and read it and understand it and actually understand the findings of it unless you have a scientific background, unless you have been trained on how to read a scientific article. So RFK likes to just talk about random shit, right? So now he's saying that if you were circumcised, you're 2 times more likely to have autism because during that circumcision, you probably had Tylenol. Now, clearly there's an agenda here to like push big pharma out. I have no idea. Look, I know the study he's talking about. There aren't two studies. There's one. It's a Danish cohort. That's a group of people they used to study. They looked at people. They didn't like actually talk to these people. They reviewed medical records. They got information. It was 300,000 people. They found about 1,000 of them to be autistic in some way. And in that 1,000 people, they looked at this tiny, small subset, which they did not identify. And those individuals were circumcised. There is nothing about acetaminophen. There is nothing about Tylenol in the article. So RFK is assuming that this small group of a few kids out of 300,000 got autism because they were circumcised. It is a completely egregious, ridiculous statement, and it is completely untrue, and it must be because he's backed by money in some way, somehow. He is not saying this because he doesn't understand it. I don't think he understands it, but there's something pushing his false misinformation forward. So if we look at that study, they also looked at kids under the age of 5 years old, and they did not adjust for confounding factors. Now, if you're MAGA and you don't believe in education, you want to understand those words. What they didn't do is look at everything else that could potentially lead to autism. They did not control the study. They didn't look at genetics. They didn't look at culture. They didn't look at how parents treated kids. They didn't look at, oh, I don't know, maybe the one parent was like poisoning the kid for the first 5 years of their life. They didn't look at any of that. And so for RFK to just spew that out and for the world and vulnerable people who don't have the education to understand it to think that now if you got your dick cut, you might have had Tylenol and that's why you're autistic, especially to spew that out to people who are actually autistic, it is so fucking offensive. I'm sorry. I just can't even believe it's gone to this degree. And we will find out. Of course, we will find out why he is pushing this so hard, who's making him and who's paying him. But, anyways, circumcisions do not lead to autism. As somebody who has published peer reviewed scientific journals and actually understands how the fuck to read them, that annoys me. Anyways, yeah, so Trump also doesn't know what habeas corpus means. That was fun. Somebody asked him about habeas corpus and he said, who? Like it was a person. And so he turned to Christy Nome, the one who's been running around Chicago trying to go pee and no one's letting her into the bathroom because she's arresting everyone and she's like fronting ICE and the military. He turned to Christy Nome as like, save me. I don't know what this big word is. And she said, well, I don't really, that hasn't come across my plate. Really? It hasn't come across either of your plates. So let me explain to you. Corpus is a legal procedure and it allows you to challenge unlawful detention, which they are both doing by doing these mass ICE raids and arrests. They're picking up people because they're brown. That's why they're picking up people. They're not looking at their documentation. They're not looking at their paperwork. They're not looking at anything before they take them. So habeas corpus is what these individuals need because a lot of these individuals are fucking American citizens. It is, and they didn't know what the word was. I'm flabbergasted how these people got to the top of our government. I am absolutely flabbergasted. I do not care what political side you are on. This is not politics. This is obscene. These are people at the top of our government who have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They don't understand policy. They don't understand big words. They don't understand sunscreen or makeup application. They don't understand appropriate eyelash extensions. Normal attire. They don't understand how they look like bitchy, like, it just egotistical, lacking insight people. And they don't understand that they look like they're being severely blackmailed or they're in a cult. How did we get here? How the fuck did we get here? Anyways, moving on. Aaron Parnas is still alive because he only posted 11 times today. So not that bad, but it's only like 8:30 in California, so I guess we could hear a lot more in the night. Trump did indict, and I'm gonna say Trump. Trump did indict Letitia James of New York because she went after him. And Trump is the president. He shouldn't be indicting people, but he did find a lawyer to actually do it. And so he is really using political power, just like James Comey, to attack people who don't believe in him. It is amazing. And this is just one day. This is Thursday. So let's think about, how were we manipulated today? We were all manipulated today. Court orders were used as theatrical props. There was so much doomsday scrolling that went on that is extremely excessive. Definitely algorithms were altered. I have multiple TikTok accounts and they were all going in different directions and down different rabbit holes, trying to catch up on where I'm going and then wanting to move me to different areas. So definitely, I think the algorithms are being controlled by money, by really rich people who want people to think certain ways and go to certain places and see certain things. But overall, I think we were manipulated because the world news just fucking hijacked our cortisol today, and we need some calmness. So let's just have a little meditation. We'll close our eyes and we will think about Radiohead and that epic line, "Don't go 'cause you're strangled by chains you cannot feel. Karma police, arrest this man." Seems fitting, right?